Valentine's Day is a day meant to be celebrated with loved ones over chocolate, wine, and gifts. Little kids make colorful mailboxes for their desks and exchange sweet cards that say things like, "Be mine" and "Happy Valentine's Day." But did you know that there was an extremely brutal murder that took place on Valentine's Day 85 years ago? Not exactly the romance everyone expects on that day. The St. Valentine's Day Massacre is the name given to the 1929 murder of 7 mob associates as part of a Prohibition-era conflict between two rival criminal gangs in Chicago. Let's begin by understanding the climate of gang activity in Chicago. The Prohibition era ushered in alcohol bootlegging and speakeasies that greatly increased gang-related crime in Chicago throughout the 1920s, beginning with the ratification of the 18th Amendment in 1920. The amendment made the sale and consumption of alcohol illegal throughout the United States. To circumvent the law, Americans, especially gang members, began brewing their own alcohol and serving them at speakeasies. Gangs were making millions of dollars through the sale of illegal alcohol as well as prostitution and gambling. By the late 1920s, 2 gangs, one led by George "Bugs" Moran and the other led by Al "Scarface" Capone, who you may recognize from the movie Scarface, were fighting over control of Chicago's black market. Capone ruthlessly gunned down his competitors over the years and was responsible for a number of gang-related murders. Capone and Moran had tried to kill one another for years. Someone had to go. The war between George Moran's gang and Al Capone's mob came to a bloody climax on February 14, 1926. Gunmen dressed as police officers lined up 7 of Moran's gang members along the wall of a large garage and shot them dead. At approximately 10:30 a.m., Capone's men ran into the garage with machine guns. Each member of Moran's gang was shot at least 15 times. One gang member remained alive and was taken to the hospital. He was questioned about authorities, but wouldn't talk, and then he later died. Moran was supposed to have been in the garage at the time of the shooting, but he was running late that day. Capone's men had arranged a fake meeting between Moran and a potential local booze sale. Moran was a few minutes late to the meeting and noticed police cars outside the garage. He thought he was being raided and continued to drive by, thus missing the brutal murder. Lucky for him. But no one was ever brought to trial for the murders. Although never charged, Al Capone became a national celebrity because of the murder and also public enemy number 1. Al Capone was never convicted, but everyone in the country knew that he was responsible. Capone's alibi was that he was called in for questioning by Dade County in Miami on the day of the massacre. Moran and Capone blamed each other for the massacre, saying things like, "Only Capone kills like that. The only man who kills like that is Bugs Moran." The massacre brought Capone to the attention of the federal government as well, and ultimately led to the end of his reign in Chicago, or anywhere else. In March, federal agents began to investigate Capone after he failed to show up to court after being subpoenaed. He later showed up and was arrested for contempt of court. While serving 6 months for the contempt charge, the U.S. Treasury Department began investigating Capone for tax evasion and was convicted. Capone served 11 years in federal prison for tax evasion and then died in 1947. The St. Valentine's Day Massacre was the exact opposite of what Valentine's Day represents, a day to love and cherish the people you care about. Al Capone chose to use the day to eliminate a rival gang that was infringing on his profit dollars, when perhaps he should have been out giving people free booze. I hope everybody had a really great Valentine's Day. I did. Happy belated Valentine's Day.